Like last week I finished a 2-week study series on, what was it called? Future Shapers. Interestingly, and this is nothing personal at all, there was not one person that commented at all on last week's message. At all, positive or negative. So the difficulty with that is that you just never know if you're on the right track or not. Too late! It's too late! You're all lying to me. Flattery is bad, alright? Today, and I say this, not because of anything personal, because I think that there is a church culture we need to have in 2024 that may be not absolutely perfect right now, alright? This is a life lesson that we need to learn, and as a church, we need to grab hold of this and be part of our whole existence together. And it is simply called Encourage. It's very simple. Is that a good title?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. It's funny, Mary's not here today. She's in Queensland. Mary has, and I'll talk about this later, a love language of words of affirmation. I'll talk about it later. And when you say, "Hey Mary, you look absolutely amazing today," she'll say to you this: "I know that you're only joking, but I really like it anyway." Because she just feels like she's encouraged. I love it. I'm going to skip quickly to the book of Matthew. Imagine being Peter, not this one, but the Peter in the Bible who was Simon, and Jesus says to his disciples, like, "Oh, who do you think I am?" And Peter goes, "Oh, I think you're, Peter's very keen." This is what Jesus says to him. Imagine if Jesus said this to you. Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of John, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter. And on this rock I'm going to build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome. And won't overcome it. I will give you the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." If you were sitting there, or standing there, and Jesus said that to you, like, "I'm going to build my whole church on you, the rock. I'm going to change your name from like a bruised reed to a rock." And imagine Peter standing there going, which is really good because in the same chapter, this is what Jesus says to him. Go to the next slide. "Get behind me, Satan, you're a stumbling block to me." Nah, same chapter. Let's go back to the encouraging one. This is like Jesus was using his words because he knew that Peter was going to need to hear both sides. In our culture, in Australia, we are very good at being critical. Who really enjoys being critical? You know, ones who're doing it, thank you. I see a hand. Thank you, praise you, Jesus. My job as a teacher is constantly to judge and to criticise work and to try and make it better. But having said that, if I also don't balance that with the good, then that's very discouraging. It's interesting, when thinking about this last night, I pulled out some Christmas cards that I was given at the end of last year. And this annoying 17-year-old employee that I have, who, I tell you what, I've had to have a go at him all year, because he's just so dopey, and he does the dumbest things. And I have to just keep telling him off, and keep telling him off, and it's like, come on mate, like this is how we do things. Didn't you even think about it? Anyway, this is what he writes in his Christmas card to me. Come look at this. It's on slide 2. I would not be where I am totally without you, Coops. You've helped me to learn, grow, be challenged, and step outside my comfort zone on countless occasions this year. I can't express how grateful I am to be working in the theatre. All the hours worked here taught me valuable life lessons, and with the help from you, I've become a better version of myself. I think, oh jeez! I wait to tell him off again. And I'll tell you what, I mean, he didn't have to write that. I mean, 17-year-old boys don't write like that normally. So, that was like, I remember that. I'm going to remember that for some time, because it was a genuine word of encouragement. And the words of encouragement need to be something that we as a people are doing quite regularly, and we actually don't. All right? And that's a problem, because the building up of the human soul and spirit is actually really, really important, particularly in a church context. Let's go back to the 5 love languages just for a second on slide 5. Now, whether you've heard of them or not, or agree with them or not, is irrelevant at this point. I can prove theologically why Jesus would use some of them, or, in the Bible. But words of affirmation, love languages is basically how humans can feel their love cup filled. I'm not talking necessarily about husbands and wives and spouses and things, although it can be that. I'm even talking about friends, parents with children, anybody at all. How you express and how you feel actually loved, valued, appreciated as a human being, as an identity, is sometimes driven specifically each person differently and expressed differently. The point is that words of affirmation is actually one of them. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11, there is actually good evidence to say that that's what we should be doing anyway, where it says, strive for full restoration, encourage one another, be of one mind, live in peace. The reason why I raise this is because if there are 5 love languages, and that is something that is a reality like my sister Mary, there's going to be at least a 5th of us here that if you don't get words of encouragement, you actually are going to feel pretty empty. Now, put your hand up, just honestly, if you know that words of affirmation is definitely one of your top 2 love languages. Just put your hand up if you know. Now, can you look around? Because these people, I don't mean to be, I'm not one. I don't care what you think. It's a real thing. And this is part of what we should be doing, an assembly of believers. In addition to that, it's actually a specific gift that some people here in this room might even have. And have a look at Romans chapter 12. It says, we have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is serving, then serve. If it is teaching, then teach. If it is encourage, then give encouragement. If it is giving, give generously. If it's to lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. And of course I've highlighted there that there are some people here, it could be a lot of people here, that need to activate this gift of encouragement. Because Paul is telling the church at Rome that this is an actual Spirit-led gift that is needed for the church. And that is for us now. And if you feel as though you might be okay at giving encouragement, then you need to activate that gift. If you think about the parable of the 5 talents, imagine having one of your talents, because I assume you're all high capacity 5 talent people here. If one of your talents is to give words of encouragement, and you don't do that, you're the person that's buried it in the ground, and Jesus is going to say, no. Oh, bad, I'm going to give it to someone else. The point is that you need to invest that gift. And some people here will have that gift. Some people, you will know, are generally very positive. And that's great. And they may have words of encouragement. Is there any people that you know in your life that you go, yeah, I like being around them, I feel up when I'm with them? They may have that gift of encouragement over their life. Maybe there's the opposite, the people that just bring things down, and they are working as tools of the enemy. So let's just not be too much around there. Don't forget, we're supposed to be thinking very positively. If you have a gift, please use it. There's a strange little Greek word called paraklesis. If you have a look at it, that's this word. Now, paraklesis is actually the word encourage in the New Testament in some ways. Not every single way. So it's not on the slides now, but if you read, like in Acts 18, when Apollos went to go to, say, Acacia, wherever it is, the brothers and sisters encouraged him and wrote to the disciples to welcome him. That encouraged him was not this word. That word encourage in the Greek actually means to urge on. The word encourage in many of the other words of encourage in the New Testament is very much the word paraklesis, which means calling to one's side, comfort, encourage, exhort. That encourage is actually the same as the word, say, paramedic, where you're called to one side. So a word of encouragement might actually be the paramedic needed for a person on any given day. Do you see what I mean here? This means that your words of encouragement actually have a healing, comforting, and building up effect on the people around you. For example, this is incredibly important that we understand that in Hebrews chapter 10, it says, "Let us consider how we may spur one another." That's again similar to the other type of encourage, where we're urging towards love and good deeds, not giving up on meeting together, as some of you are in the habits of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. That encouraging then is that paraklesis. We need to actually get alongside with words that are building to one another, and even more as we see the day approaching. Now what does the Bible say there? It says, don't give up meeting together. There is no way that you can look up that scripture and it says, not meeting. That word meeting genuinely in the Greek means gathering, assembly, meeting. That is not by yourself somewhere else. It is extremely difficult, even online, to be genuinely built up, paraklesis, without actually the assembly, the meeting, the gathering of other human beings. Reminder in Genesis where God says it's not good for man to be alone. So God sets up a principle where man is not supposed to be alone. He says here in the New Testament, in the book of Hebrews, he said, don't give up meeting together. I encourage you, ground level, or wherever you may end up anywhere in your life, do not give up meeting together. Don't forget, you are meeting with Christians that follow Christ. You are not meeting with Christs who are perfect. You are going to meet with people who are flawed, who will offend you, who will be a personality very different to you, but at the same time, that environment can be still encouraging. I love this church because there is such an eclectic group of people that are so vastly different to each other in personality, skill, trade, and context, but we all seem to somehow get along, which is great. Shouldn't in reality, but we do. And may I encourage you, may I paraklesis you as I come alongside you now and say, come on, let's use these words of encouragement to make sure that you get along to whenever the gatherings happen. I'll pray to the choir because you're here right now, all right? But whenever possible, you're not going to get the paraklesis, the encouragement, the building up of yourself, if you are not physically actually present. It's really interesting because your words are extremely powerful, and you may not realize how powerful your words are. The Bible does, because when James recounted the idea of what your tongue does in James chapter 3, he says, when we put bits into the mouth of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal, or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and driven by small, strong winds, they are steered by a small rudder, wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. That is the antithesis, the opposite of paraklesis, if we are using our words to go against coming alongside, to build up, to encourage. This is extremely important. If we're going to move the Church of the Living God forward, we need to understand this as an absolute principle. Now I'm going to show you a little 3-minute video of some children and young people. This is not Christian at all, but it's just 3 minutes, and there's just some questions that are being asked, and I want you to think about what they are recounting from what their parents have told them. Let's play that video now.
Take one.
How are you? Good. I'm so glad to see you. At your house, what do you hear your mom and dad saying most often?
Get off the couch! Come over and do the dishwasher!
Oh, go clean your room. Oh, hurry up, hurry up. And you need to do your laundry. I'm not warning you again.
Be quiet.
Why?
Because we're really loud. Who took this? Who ate that? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? You're being disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to calm down.
Clean your room, do your chores. My dad says no. That's like all I hear.
Okay, and
My
what you...
mom says like, hurry up. What have you done productive today?
To unload the dishwasher, to clean the table, to wash the dishes.
Remember to bring your lacrosse stuff to lacrosse practice.
Clean up your desk.
How did you not find that? I was right there!
What's the nicest thing somebody's ever said to you?
I'm funny, and my teacher says I have a good imagination.
Someone said I have like a really nice personality
Mm-hmm.
and that I can be really respectful. Your smile is contagious. One of my friends said like, you're the best person in the world.
Really? How did that make you feel?
Like somebody really cared about me.
Yeah.
My coach, I love him because
Yeah.
even if we don't win or don't have a good game, he'll be like, you guys did good. He'll tell us what we did best and what we need to work on. I like hearing good things about myself and someone else.
Yeah. Has anybody ever said anything that hurt your feelings?
You're so obnoxious.
Really?
All the time. I hear that maybe once a day. Those little comments stick with me all the time.
Someone at my school said I wasn't good at like a certain sport we were doing for PE. It made me feel kind of sad and that I should stop trying it.
This kid said I was a waste of life.
Oh, really?
It's just no one's a waste of life, in my opinion.
That's right. What's the very favorite thing your mom and dad have said to you?
That they're proud of me.
Yeah.
They say you're gonna do great things one day.
I love when my mom and dad like say I'm awesome and cool and like they love me.
I did hear like, good job, well done, congratulations, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's I love you.
Really?
I really like that.
My mom says I'm special sometimes.
Yeah.
And my dad says I'm a really hard worker.
Well, that must make you feel very valuable.
It does.
She says like I'm beautiful, smart, pretty, and stuff.
Yeah.
Makes me feel nice and makes me feel more confident and positive.
My mom always tells me that like I'm the most determined, so that's always stuck with me. Like if I have a project, I just remember like I'm the most determined one. If I actually want to get this done, I can do it.
My dad tells me very frequently, and my mom tells me so much, I'm glad you are my son. I just love that.
Oh. Some good parenting advice then. Now let's head back to Hebrews, that one in slide 8. It says, we should not give up meeting together, as some of you are in the habit of doing, not here because you're here, but encouraging one another, and even more. We're living right now in a society which needs this more than ever. We have more depression, more anxiety, more separation from God, and more separation in the traditional families and the way that society works than ever before. We are getting closer to whatever you consider is this day that's approaching. So the remedy for that, according to the Bible, is to meet together and to encourage each other, and even more. We must do that more. I remember when I was sitting in the theatre and I was plotting some lights for a show last year with a 14-year-old kid, and he had this idea and it was awful. And I'm trying to steer him in the right direction. I'm getting frustrated. He doesn't like it. Everything's going, and I'm just like feeling myself getting very frustrated. And we get on very well, but it's like. So I just stopped for a second, and I said to him, "You know that what you're doing as a 14-year-old with all of this is quite extraordinary, don't you? Like you are an extraordinary human being to be able to do this, and I'm extremely proud of what you're doing." And working with me, being quite a difficult person. It changed the whole culture for the next 2 days of how we work together from 15 seconds. And I just felt like that just changed the culture and it changed the environment. If we are needing to bring discipline or correction or conviction or something or other, that's fine. But can you understand why it's really, really, really important that we actually bring the words of encouragement to each other, and even more now? It's actually really important. Now, who thinks that they can do this more than they've been doing recently? Put your hand up if you think you can. All right, some people may not be able to do that, so you have some challenges. We are now going to practice. This could be a little bit confronting and a bit awkward. We'll see how we go. I have pre-selected 4 random people, and we're going to put their face on the screen. Not now, but in a second. And then I'm going to have an open mic. And that person is not allowed to leave the congregation, but anybody else can come up and take this microphone and say something encouraging about that person. Are you ready? Person number 1, Mr. Murray Oldham. Alright. Now we need at least 3 people per person to say something that is paraclesis, to be able to be encouraging, exhorting, and uplifting. Who would like to say something about Murray at this point? Let me come forward. Aiming for 3 people because there's 4 people.
I'd say Dad's probably the best. For anyone that doesn't know, that's my dad. He's the best dad. He has always encouraged us as kids, taught us literally everything that he pretty much knows. I service my own vehicle because of him. He's fun to be around. He is a giant 5-year-old. It's fantastic. Take him on a train. Woo! Yeah, it's great fun. I love you.
Thank you, Ellie. You're going to do a good job there, everybody. They were practicing. Okay, second person, who would like to say something about Murray Oldham? Mr. Murray Oldham. There's going to be someone here. Someone. Oh, Peter! You'll come up. I still need a third person, so have to think about that. Someone will have to say something. We're not leaving.
I've had the honour of being Murray's neighbour for about 7 years. There were some pretty tough times. So I was the first homeowner. Murray came over and helped me move in. Like, I don't even think you guys knew us at that stage. And then I think he only just come to our church like 2 weeks before that. And I'm like, looking at him, I know you. I know you. I'm Mother Oldham. So it was really, really cool. I would often drive home from work and just be like, I've just had a wild day. Like, just full-on day. And I get home and I've got Jack and Ollie and they're like, Dad, let's go run around. I'm like, all right, let's go run around at the Oldhams. So we'll go over to the Oldhams and we'll muck around. Jack and Ollie would hang out with Mother Oldham, playing with the fish. Mother Oldham play totem tennis with him. And me and Murray would just chat. And it was just a good debrief. I'd be like, Murray, this is what happened today. He's like, yeah, that's pretty hard. And I've had a similar circumstance with this. And so Murray was sort of like a surrogate dad, in a way. He helped me process my thoughts. He'd just be a great ear to talk to. During COVID, I had to move during COVID, and my whole family were just everywhere, and I couldn't move. It's really hard moving a fridge or a couch by yourself. But Murray would come over and help me move, and we packed up the whole house together. We moved it. It was only like 5 minutes down the road, but he helped me move it down the road. Murray has been a great strength of comfort, for counsel, just to hang out. Like, there was never, I can't think we've ever had a 10-second or 10-minute conversation. It's always been ages. Sarah would come outside and she'd go, can you go water the garden? I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'm going to go water the garden. And then I'd end up watering the garden over at Murray's house. And Sarah would be like, where the hell are you? Ring my phone and I'm just at Murray's. Like, okay, well, dinner's in 2 hours, could you please wrap it up? Murray has been a great source of comfort, encouragement, and just like a solid rock. He has just been a very integral part of my life. I often drive past, so I still drive past Murray's house on the way home, and I think, could I pop in for 10 minutes? Sometimes I do. So thank you very much, Murray. You've been amazing.
So one other person would like to say something about Murray. It doesn't have to be very long like that. It can be short and simple. One other person would like to say something about Murray before we go to the next person. Anybody? Excellent. People, if you don't know Murray, you need to get to know him. How can you encourage people if you don't know people? Like, I've been in a Bible study with Murray. He's jolly good fun. Like, he's actually got a good head on him, and like, fantastic person to talk to. Been your friend forever. He's a great guy.
You kind of just stole my words. I was just going to say, I love seeing Murray of the week. You've always got a good joke, you've always got a good comment about something, you make life light, you make it enjoyable, so thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Well done, Murray. You were the first person in our practice today. Sorry that you're getting here. Now put your hand up if you definitely don't want your name to be up next. Alright, Murray. Alright. Next person is Ella Salt. Alright, multi-generational here. Now, who would like to say something about Ella? Alright, we have Chloe, then Trudy, and we need a young person. And then Emerald. Okay, sorry, here we go.
I love you, Ella. I think surely you know that. I've just had the privilege of going away. We went on a holiday together, also known as you, Kev. No, but the thing that there's many amazing things about Ella, but the most amazing thing, which is, and I was talking to my mum about this the other day, probably should have told it straight to your face, is that she's gifted in connecting people. She's gifted in seeing. Really seeing her friends and like helping them through hard times. She doesn't like go, oh no, you know, I can't be bothered with you. Like that's just not even remotely in her nature. She invites friends to youth, but doesn't invite them and then ignores them. She brings them in. And that like, it's a rare gift, and her mum has it too, just to slip her under the bus as well. But like, you're very gifted with people and caring for people and making people feel welcome, and I am so grateful for it. Thank you, Ella.
Love you. You are amazing, particularly in like St. John's. And just, you're so determined, and that like you never give up, just fight. And that strength and that energy, I guess, is really, really encouraging for me, and I love you.
So I've grown up with Ella since like kindy, so I've known her for quite a while. I've watched her like grow with God since she's come to the church, and we grew with God together, and yeah, she's such an amazing person, a social person, and so friendly, and she's been coming to my school now since we've also attended the same schools, and I just watch her and I think, wow, like she's just amazing, like she's a great person. Yeah.
And well done, Ella. Fantastic. The oversight did give me some help with photos and people because I don't have access to everything. That's great. Third out of the fourth people. It was weird because I did check this morning to make sure all four of these people were here. And I'm only going to speak about the fourth person today because that's who I want to speak about. But the third person is Mr. Danny Abraham. All right. Who would like to say something about Danny here? Okay, Sarah's one, Travis is two. Do I have a third? And don't. Sorry, Ali, you are going to have to stay at home. All right, here we go.
I know that Danny absolutely hates this, by the way, but I'm going to single him out because Danny is I think out of anyone I've ever known, the most generous with his time. Like, unbelievably giving in everything that he does, and particularly to our family, and we're really, really grateful for you. But you go out of your way when it's really inconvenient for you, and it's really inconvenient for your family. You will help anyone, anytime, and we're really grateful for you, Dave.
Yeah.
I've known Danny since he took me into his house. He's been great. Someone who's stepped into my life. Someone who's gifted me a knowledge to go to a wonderful school, to like spend time to church, and just open like his heart to the people that he feels connected. And when he knows that I struggle, he gives me the courage, and sometimes he talks to me inside my room, and even with the times that he's been there, I think the thing that really appreciate is the time that he gives me with his kids, to spend time, have fun with them. Just an incredible person, I'd say.
Didn't Trav speak well? Great job, Trav.
I've had the privilege of knowing Danny for quite a while, before he came to the church, and I've watched him grow in his faith, and watched him father his children, and husband his wife, and it's a privilege to watch this young man become a father in the church, and how he means something to every one of us. And each of us have got an appreciation of you, Danny. I'm so proud to have you as a son.
Now, I wasn't going to say anything, but a couple of years ago, I got an email, a work email, from reception. I'm the manager of a theatre in Waratah. And this email said, hello, I attended one of your concerts the other day, and my car had a problem in the car park, and a fellow audience member stopped and helped me for about an hour, waited with me, helped me with my car, got it fixed, and got it going, and then went on our merry way. I don't know who that person is, but can you try and find out and let them know I'm extremely grateful. I cannot believe someone would be that generous. Thinking, who was that? Guess who it was? Danny. At my work. And so it was like, I did tell Danny that email, and that's just an example. Okay, the fourth one, and the final one. This is Jenny Rose! Yay! All right, if you don't know, okay, Meg's going to say something. Is that because you're in the photo? All right, I reserve being one of the people, so I'm one. Meg is one. Do I have another person who would like to say something about Mrs. Jenny Rofe? Come on, people. Oh, okay. We might do three here. We'll go Mrs. Oldham, Barb, Meg, and then I'll wrap up. All right, so thanks, Heather.
I appreciate that Jenny can quilt so well and encourage so well. I started sewing, and I'd never sort of really heard much about quilting, but Jenny just said, it's just straight sewing. And when you put two pieces of material together, it's just straight sewing. And that encouraged me to go a little bit further and a little bit further. And I didn't realise she's such a Australia-wide, probably worldwide, known quilter. And I just thought she was just the lady at church. So thank you, Jenny, for encouraging me and encouraging so many others throughout Australia. Thanks. Where is she? I've been a member of Maitland Quilters for about, this will be my 24th year. So I've known Jenny a long time. She is a valued member of that group. A very noisy member sometimes, but in a positive way. Her laughter and, you know, the group she hangs out with are quite rowdy. But it is an encouragement to the rest of us, because when we hear them laughing, we all smile and we enjoy that. And it's because Jenny was a member of this church that Alan and I came along. So, you know, she's encouraged. Her whole life, whether it be quilting or whatever, is an encouragement to everyone who comes in contact. So thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Bob. All right, Liz. Replicate that photo.
I just love my gran because she's always there for us and always makes time to be with us and help us when she's trying to make time for me so I can make my quilt for a show while she's also making a quilt for the exact same show, like having me time to do it. That's why I love her.
Well done, Liz. That's right. I look at what's happening right now. I see Isaac and Trudy running our tech today, doing a great job. I think about Meg speaking in front of a congregation. I see Tim being the gun that he is. I see Jeff like running kids with his wife. I see all of this. None of it would be because of without Mrs. Rove. I met Mrs. Rove in 1997 through a range of circumstances, and she has been very faithful to God. Very faithful. And through that, God has, you know that scripture that says, by your fruit you'll know them? Well, I am confident about Mrs. Rove's faith because the fruit I'm seeing out of Mrs. Rove's life is phenomenal. From a personal note, every time I meet with my mother, who's not here today, unfortunately, I think she's also in Queensland, everyone's over there. Every time I meet with my mum is not someone who has had lots of friends in her life, but my mum absolutely values the friendship of Mrs. Rove and refers to that regularly. And I got a chance to meet with Jenny this week, and we caught up for coffee, and she says it with delight every time she recounts it. And really, every time Mum talks about what Jenny says, Mrs. Rove, she always says it with, look, think about the wisdom that Mrs. Rove said. You know, I go, yeah, that's actually true. So thank you for being a good friend to my mum, who really has been so valuing of that, and for the fruit that continues today and will continue well after you're gone in many years' time. And so let's give it up for Mrs. Jenny Rove. That does conclude that part of the service today. Now, it's sometimes hard to hear those words, all right? And it's a challenge, and to be honest with you, I don't like it either. Every time I do like a musical, it's required that someone says something nice about me because I'm in charge of it. It's like, we'll just move along a bit, please, because I want to get to the next thing that I've got to go to. But we need to take stock, because one, to encourage one another, and all the more, as we see the day approaching, would hopefully mean that you are also getting encouragement, and we need to be able to take that and be built by that. So I don't know how those four people feel right now. I'm hoping that has been at least some sense of paraclesis, where we've come alongside and said some truth that is positive. It doesn't mean we have to go now and criticise them because they're not encouragement. But as we do fellowship after church on a Sunday, the downstairs bit often goes longer than the upstairs bit, to be honest with you, which we have no problem with. But let's encourage one another and get to know one another and form a community. And that's that. I'm going to ask Pastor Chloe now to come and wrap up with some logistics about some things coming up tonight, and to close in prayer. Thanks.